Hello, welcome to another wiki procedure, and today we're going to look on how you can apply for an asylum visa in Kenya. Down here below, we have given you a link which is going to direct you to our wiki procedure website page, where we have given you detailed information on how you can go about the application process. Additionally, on the right hand side of our screen, we have given you a select language option through which you can select the language which you easily understand or comprehend. By clicking this downward pointing arrow, you can select the language of your choice, and by choosing that language, for example Swahili, all the information in our wiki procedure website page will be translated to the language of your choice. And you can easily revert back to English by clicking once again on the downward pointing arrow and choosing English. We've also included external links to other websites where you can get more information on how you can go about the application process to get the asylum visa or pass in Kenya. And we have also given detailed information on how you can go about the application process. And we are going to go all through this as we move on with our presentation. But before we move on, I'll urge you to go and hit the like button on this video right here. Also hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can get notifications every time we upload new content on our YouTube channel. So let's get back to our presentation. The list of items which are going to cover in this session include the need for an asylum visa, the eligibility criteria, the required documents, steps to follow in making the applications, the fees applicable, validity period, processing time, office location and contact information, and any other information that may help us on how to get more, give us more insight on how to apply for this asylum visa or pass in Kenya. So welcome to our presentation today, which is brought to you by wikiprocedure.com. The need for an asylum visa. The asylum visa certifies that the holder is an asylum seeker whose claim for refugee status is being examined by the Commission for Refugees in Kenya. As an asylum seeker, the holder is a person of concern to the Office of the Commissioner for Refugees and should, in particular, be protected from forcible return to a country where he or she claims to face threats of his or her life, freedom, pending a final decision of his or her refugee status. The eligibility criteria is as follows. A person who has left his or her country of origin and has entered Kenya seeking asylum, that is the right to be recognized as a refugee and receive legal protection and material assistance, is eligible to apply for the asylum visa or asylum pass in Kenya. The required document, you need any form of identification. That's your national identity card or passport. You need a birth certificate for children or marriage certificate for married couples. Steps to follow in making the application. The asylum visa is issued to a person who has left his or her country of origin and has entered Kenya seeking asylum. That is the right to be recognized as a refugee and receive legal protection and material assistance from Kenya. This application can only be done in person, and the first step, the asylum seeker at the point of entry in Kenya is to declare to the immigration officers or any government official that he or she is seeking asylum in Kenya. There he will be received by an appointed officer who shall direct him to the nearest refugee reception center. There, at the refugee reception center, the asylum seeker is to present himself before a registration officer and apply to be recognized as a refugee. Here, the asylum seeker will be given an application form, that's Form 1, which is the Refugee Status Determination Application Form, to fill and submit. And if the asylum seeker cannot fill the form, the registration officer shall fill the form for the asylum seeker. And in addition, the registration officer shall also take fingerprints and photographs of the asylum seeker at the time of registration. The asylum seeker should lodge the complete application in triplicate form in person at the designated refugee reception office within 30 days of his entry into Kenya, and is also to produce identification document that he or she is in possession with. If the asylum seeker came in Kenya with his family, he or she and members of his or her family are to appear in person for a registration interview. An appointed officer shall refer the asylum seeker and members of his family already within Kenya to the nearest refugee registration center for reception and registration interviews. The appointed officer in charge of registration shall carry out interviews and fill the registration status determination application form 1 for all family members. The registration officer will also take fingerprints and photographs of the asylum seeker at the time of registration, and the family members are also to produce any identification documents in their possession. So let's have a quick look at this form number 1, which is supposed to be filled. So once the asylum seekers entered into Kenya, you need to present yourself or approach any government official who shall direct you to the nearest refugee reception center, and there you'll be given this form A, which is a refugee status determination application form. So after as you await your refugee status determination, you'll be issued with an asylum visa. So this is the form which you're supposed to make the application with. So here you're supposed to fill in your full names, place of birth, date of birth, marital status, religion, ethnicity, residence in your home country, present contact addresses, your highest level of education, your occupation, most recent in your home country, and here you're supposed to list any documents or identification documents which you have. And if you're missing identity documents that are relevant to your claim, please explain why you don't have these documents. And if you're missing the documents, explain if you are going to or you'll be able to obtain these documents in the future. Also, you're supposed to give history about yourself if you have ever applied for refugee protection or asylum with the United Nations Humanitarian and Refugee Center, UNHCR, and if you have ever been registered as an asylum seeker or refugee, where or when you ever been registered. Give details about your family, close family members in your home country, and other family members and dependents living outside your home country. So you're supposed to also give information about that, supposed to list them down, and give details about your travel before you entered Kenya. So the date of departure from your home country, the means of travel, the exit point from your home country, countries of transit. If you came directly into Kenya or you passed through other countries, you're supposed to give the details of how you traveled to the entry point of Kenya, and the date when you arrived in Kenya, and if you've ever been in Kenya before. And here is the declaration of the interviewer, because if the asylum seeker is not conversant with English or Swahili, there will be an interviewer present who is going to help. So you'll be asked if you prefer to have an interviewer to interview you, and even your if you prefer the interview to be male or female, on which languages you prefer to be interviewed with. And then you're supposed to now write the written statement. Now this is the proof of the burden of proof of why you need the asylum visa. Now here you're supposed to write the proof of statement stating why you want protection in Kenya, and why you've come to, why you need the asylum visa and refugee status in Kenya, and what kinds of persecutions are you running from, what fears are you having. So you're supposed to write your written statement here. You're supposed to what do you believe will happen to you and your family members if you return back in your home country. You're supposed to give sufficient reasons why you don't feel safe going back to your home country. So you will need to explain why, and you're supposed to sign. And after after you have signed this, you'll be issued with this form number 2, which is the asylum seeker pass, giving here your photograph will be affixed here, and your name, the date of registration, place of birth, nationality, the date of entry, and in Kenya, and place of entry will be stated here and signed. And this is the asylum seeker pass or the asylum visa. So let's continue. So the commissioner, after the family members are also supposed to produce identification documents they have in their possession. So the commissioner shall ensure the fingerprints of the asylum seeker and the family members are taken and checked against all national fingerprint databases, and will also forward the applications of all asylum seekers registered in that center to the Refugee Status Determination Center. An asylum seeker having applied for the refugee status will be issued with an asylum seeker pass, which you have just seen, or an asylum seeker visa, which shall remain valid from 1 year from the date of issuance or until the final determination of the asylum application or refugee status application, or whichever is earlier. The commissioner shall inform the asylum seeker of the Refugee Status Determination Center, where the asylum seeker shall present himself for the determination for his asylum application. So you need to note that the asylum seeker visa or pass will be issued to the asylum seeker, specifying the time and date when the asylum seeker shall return to a specified refugee reception office, and also notifies the asylum seeker that failure to comply with the conditions of appearing personally at the designated refugee reception office no later than that time and date specified may result with in the withdrawal of the pass or visa. The application fees is free of charge. The validity period is 1 year from the date of reception or until the final determination of the asylum application, or whichever comes first. You need to note that the pass is only valid if an official stamp of the refugee department has been affixed to it and it's signed by the issuing officer and the asylum seeker. The processing time takes between 3 to 6 months to process. Office location of the Refugee Secretariat, they are located at Nyayo House, and you can contact them through their website of www.refugee.go.ke, and the Department of Immigration Services are also located at Nyayo House, Nairobi, Kenya, and you can contact them through their website of www.immigration.go.ke. Other information is that an asylum seeker shall at all times be in possession of their asylum pass or visa as proof of legal status in Kenya, and the asylum seeker shall surrender any permit issued to him under the Immigration and Alien Restriction Act for cancellation before being issued with an asylum pass or visa. So that's it with the application. As you have seen, it's quite simple, and thank you for watching our presentation. But before we conclude, I will urge you to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button and also the notification button, so you can get notifications every time we upload new content on our YouTube wiki procedure channel. So thank you for watching, and I wish you all the best in your application to seek asylum in Kenya.